Adam, our brief opening remark is go Dogs.
Love it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Row 60, a Georgia football podcast. My name is Clark Gaines. Joining me today, as always, Adam Thornton. And this is show number 27, the Nick Chubb episode, Adam. Maybe.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. We are 38 days from kickoff in Atlanta, Georgia, in the Benz versus Oregon.
Won't be long now, Clark.
Yeah.
Won't be long now. August is upon us, and when August comes, Clark, we talked about it, and we'll keep talking about it. That's when we get daily practice reports every day. That's when we really get the hype machine rolling, and it's a very exciting time. This is what I live for, man. Let's go.
Yeah. On this episode, we're going to be talking a lot about the SEC Media Days, kind of recapping those wonderful, eventful days full of questions, full of some corny phrases, full of just great, magical SEC.
Some disillusion. We could say there was some disillusion.
Yeah, there was.
That's the word for it, right? Disillusion. Yeah. I mean, there was definitely some stuff out there that was just jaw-dropping. Like, did that man really say that to the world?
Yeah.
And does he believe it?
Right.
Clark Lee?
Yeah,
we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that for sure. A lot of common themes in SEC Media Days. A lot of questions asked about the conference realignment. And good heavens, if I had a penny for every NIL question, I'd be a millionaire.
Yeah.
But, a lot of those are kind of the burning questions right now. And I think a lot of people want to know from these coaches, because these coaches, they obviously have a much different perspective on college football than we do, Adam.
Right.
A lot of people are wondering, though, what it looks like through their eyes,
Yeah, Clark, I mean, it's very interesting. And, of course, everybody knew that's what was going to be on the table in Atlanta this week, is getting everybody's opinion on how the game is changing, and whether we like it or not, it is changing. I mean, there's going to be major changes. The game will be unrecognizable. I just hope it's to a point that where that's stuff that we've grown up loving about college football, and that's been special to us the entirety of our lives, is still there, and I have faith that they'll do it, and hopefully it'll happen. And there were some good points about it, and what's to come in the future. The unknown is exciting as far as conference realignment, where what teams are going to go where. Is the cap for the SEC going to be the 16 teams and Oklahoma or Texas, or is the Florida State, the Clemson, some of these North Carolina going to come in the conference? And then, dang, what's that open it up to? And who's the Big 12? Are they going to just pick apart the Pac-12 and the Pac-10, what we grew up loving, that turned into the Pac-12? That we knew for so long. Are they going to still be relevant? It's going to change. The landscape's going to change so much here in the next few years. It's exciting to see what direction it's going to go, because at this point, it's staying the same of what we've traditionally loved, and me and you both being traditionalists, so that would be our first option. And it's not going to happen. So, hey, let's see. But I can tell you one thing, Kirby Smart is going to be dominant.
That's right.
No matter what happens, whoever gets on the field, Georgia's going to win football games. We're in a good position. So at least, and that will always be in the conversation. So.
Absolutely. Adam, I just thought about this, and this is kind of going off topic. August 4th is Row 60's birthday.
Oh, is it now?
It's
1 year?
1 year.
1 year, baby.
Birthday.
That was it. So August 4th was the day that we were in your kitchen.
Yes. Yeah.
And we didn't know what we were doing. We were just rambling on a microphone. We might not still know what we're doing now, and we're still just rambling in a microphone, but at least we have some people watching us, and we appreciate that. Yes. So awesome. So 1 year coming up, man. Felt like yesterday. What a ride.
I know.
What a ride.
A lot of memorable things have happened between that moment and now.
Hey, we need to get a gift package up.
A gift package?
Like a gift package, like a birthday gift packages for the listeners.
Ooh.
Like a drawing.
Okay.
Get some things together.
Interesting.
Get people hyped up for the season, and get some fan participation. Come up with a contest. I don't know if it's going to be drawing a name, or if we make them work for it a little bit, Clark.
Ooh.
Answer some questions.
Yeah.
Give us their life biography, and we give who's deserving of it. Nah, I'm just kidding. But something comes up. We need to celebrate with our fan base.
Wow.
Row 60's birthday.
I like that.
So let's be thinking about that.
We're going to talk about this after the show.
All right.
We're going to ask our lovely wives what think.
We can do.
We're going to ask our moms what they think. We're going to get us a little birthday party together.
Let's do it.
Why not?
Love it.
We get a cake with our logo on it or something.
We'll do it. We'll do it. Man. And a prize package for somebody out there to celebrate. So
that's awesome. A great idea, Adam. I like that.
Oh, yeah.
All right, going back.
Great ideas.
Yeah, you are. Going back to SEC Media Days, let's start with Brian Kelly. I don't know. I think he was the first to take the podium. May have been Lane Kiffin, one or the other. Anyway, Brian Kelly, someone asked him to describe his favorite food in his best Southern accent. And he didn't, unfortunately. I was waiting for it.
Waiting for it to come out.
He did say he liked crawfish and Étouffée.
That's what I'm going to go with. That's what it sounds like.
It's French.
If you read it, it sounds like that's what you go with. Okay.
Adam, do you like crawfish?
Yeah, I like crawfish. I don't eat it as regularly as the Cajun folk do, but I do love some crawfish, man. And I especially like it in a low country boil. Ooh. I would prefer my low country boil first and foremost to have shrimp and crab legs. Crab legs is essential to a low country boil, folks. Go ahead, spend the money on it. It's worth it. Get you some crab legs and put them in there with it. And some people like the crawfish angle from it, and I'm all right with it. Yeah. I mean, there's more. There's better. Would it be a shellfish? Would you put that in the family, the shellfish family? Okay, that's what I figured. I just wanted to make sure before I said that on the airwaves here. But I'm more of a shrimp man if I had to pick my favorite shellfish. But it's good. How about yourself?
Yeah, I like crawfish. Really good. I went down when we went to NOLA for the Sugar Bowl. Yeah. I got my crawfish fixed down there. Yeah, it's pretty good. So I can't blame Brian Kelly for saying that. He did have a few cheesy jokes, and Adam, I don't know if you watched his presser or
I didn't get Brian Kelly's.
Anyway,
I skimmed through it a little bit. Didn't watch the entirety.
Yeah, he had a couple of cheesy jokes, and just no one laughed.
Oh man, cringy. We've talked about it. It's going to be interesting to see what Brian Kelly does in Baton Rouge. Like I said, the cultural fit to me, just sitting there.
Yeah.
Nobody is questioning if the man can coach football.
Oh, he can.
But I don't know if he's the cultural fit for the Southeastern Conference going against Kirby Smart and Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher and these guys who have established these programs and recruiting at a high level. And LSU is the only team in the state of Louisiana, a very talent-rich state. So, yes, naturally they're going to pull a big group of recruits in there. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. We'll see if he could get – because you got to be in that top three, Clark.
Right.
The top five definitely, but that top three really to get just be the elite of the elite talent and recruiting classes every year. Build top five classes. But when you get consistently staying in that 8-9 range, that's just not SEC level. I'm going to cut it there. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what he does. Jury's up. So I'm excited to see. But definitely a great offensive mind. And I don't know. Mm-hmm. It's going to be very interesting.
I think I heard Greg McElroy say, LSU's one of those teams they could win just 5 games this year. Or they could win 10, and there's such a gap.
That's what they've been like for the past couple of years since Burrow. That's kind of I feel like the theme we've talked about LSU for the past couple of years.
Yeah,
you just don't know.
Right,
you don't know.
So
the talent's there. So I don't know.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see Brian Kelly in this LSU team. He had a couple of questions asked about his time at Notre Dame. I think he kind of deflected those. I don't think he wanted any attention to be on his career at Notre Dame. So I thought he did good with that.
Right.
And then one reporter asked Brian Kelly how much the lopsided losses to Alabama played into the fact that he wanted to leave Notre Dame for LSU.
Somebody really asked him that.
Yes, they had the audacity to ask him.
Man, I tell you, some of the media reporters are like, why are we not up there? We get asked some very profound questions.
Yes.
That really make them think.
Thought-provoking.
But something like that, golly.
I know.
What was his reaction, Clark?
He was kind of stunned at first. I think he handled it pretty well. You'd have to go back and watch it. I don't remember exactly what he said. But
do you know the story of the first time they lost to them in the 2012 BCS National Championship that was in Miami?
Curb stomp.
That Georgia should have been in. Georgia would have smoked them too. Mark Richt would have for sure. Yeah. And that team, there in Murray and those boys. But Kirby was at a Christmas party like a week or two before the game, and ESPN was interviewing Brian Kelly, and he just called out of the corner of his eye that was on the TV at this party, And he noticed in the background that Notre Dame offensively was lining up in a formation that they have not seen on tape before. So he calls Saban and the rest of the defensive staff, what story says, and they headed to the Alabama office. He leaves the Christmas party that night.
Wow.
And they go to the office, the coach's office, and go ahead and draw up what defensive schemes they'd run against that offensive offensive alignment. So I mean, just that attention to detail that both of them guys do that we talk about all the time. It's special.
Yeah.
But so that's a neat story from there. I've always like, my God,
that is interesting.
Sitting there at a Christmas party
and then you
notice
just leave.
that. It's like, and then just bam, got to get to work.
Wow.
But hey, that's what makes you great.
That's exactly right, and that's why Kirby is getting paid big time. And we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. Golly, can you imagine?
That's a lot.
$112 million in 10 years.
That's a lot more than I make, Clark.
Me too. You could put both of ours in probably 5X it, and then it still wouldn't make it. Golly.
5X it. I don't need that.
Oh, my gosh. Anyway, that's enough about Brian Kelly. Like I said, though, LSU this year
we'll see.
Ought to be interesting.
There's going to be a lot of hype.
Of a wild card.
Going to be a lot of hype. So.
Yep. Next was Lane Kiffin, and we're going to skip a couple of coaches. I probably should have mentioned that before we started this. To be honest, we're just touching on some highlights.
We didn't get to see all of them, unfortunately, because
we're working men.
Yeah, it was during the work hours. The people have yet to allow us during working hours to go to the SEC media days and cover this stuff. So until then, we're going to try to get to Nashville next year for them. That's awesome. What I'm aiming for.
Yeah, I think we'll see. I think we can do it. Lane Kiffin, he was asked about signing golf balls and mustard bottles. He did, in fact, sign a mustard bottle. I bet I
saw that.
I bet that thing's on eBay right now. Or it should be if it's not.
Absolutely.
And the funniest part was it was an Alabama fan that brought him the mustard bottle. Like,
of course.
What in the world?
Of course.
But, Lane Kiffin, I love listening to him talk to the media. He's just a straight shooter. He's going to tell you what he thinks, and I appreciate that. And I think Tebow or maybe Feinbaum, one or the other, they made a good point about how some recruits really do respect that kind of attitude. They just want a coach that just he's a straight shooter. So I don't know.
And he does it a different way, Clark, because you see him on Twitter cutting up with retweeting stuff, saying stuff that a few years ago you would have never thought that you'd see a SEC or college football coach, but definitely an SEC head coach do in the Twitter world, and it makes some people upset. But honestly, think about it. The guys he's trying to appeal to on there, they love it. They eat it up.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This year, Ole Miss is going to be very interesting. I know we touched on it a little bit last episode. It's going to be interesting to see who the quarterback is. Is Jackson Dart going to be the guy, the USC transfer?
Yeah. Matt
Corral's leaving some big shoes to fill, and I think whoever steps up and takes that spot, or the Altmaier kid, wasn't that his name? I'm drawing a blank. Number 7, who's already on campus and a really good quarterback himself. Who's going to be that guy for them? Who's going to take the reins? And if that guy can settle in and run Kiffin's offense well, shoot, man. I don't know.
Yeah,
it'll be very interesting to see.
I think it'd be tough to replicate their success from last year, but I mean, who knows?
Yeah. I mean, that's what we talked about. I don't think it will be a New Year's Six type season for them, but we'll see.
Yeah. That's what makes college football so fun.
Right.
We don't actually know. We're just projecting and speculating, and that's what this season's all about. This is talking season, Adam.
Talking season, baby.
Anyway, Josh Heupel, kind of going out of order. I didn't really hear much from him. I just knew that from what I did hear, he seemed really excited about his program and just the whole Tennessee volunteer community.
Which what we thought, Clark. Yeah. What we thought it would be. And good for Heupel, man. He's had a great year one there. Very, very exciting. A lot of bright spots for him. And I mean, the hype's real on Rocky Top. What we talked about, a lot of guys coming back. Hendon Hooker coming back, play quarterback, and an offense that really moves at a fast pace and can put a lot of points on the board. Yep. And those fans are so hungry. Clark, I saw a statistic the other day, and you might have to fact check me on this, but I think since like 2007, Tennessee is 0-39 against a top 10 team.
That sounds right.
0-39 against the top 10 team. And a lot of those, of course, Alabama, Georgia every year here in the past. And you got Florida mixed in and some West Coast games. They played Oklahoma, I think, in like 2015-16 range, somewhere around there. And that's astonishing, man.
That really is. Wow.
And, especially for a program like Tennessee and the tradition of it, and we watched the game last night, what killed that program was a hobnail boot. Mark Richt killed that program. When he put a wall around the state of Georgia and didn't allow Philip Fulmer to come in and get guys like Jamal Lewis, Peerless Price, those type boys, when he did that, it ran the well dry up in Knoxville. Right. And it's something they hadn't recovered from since then. And, of course, all the turnover and the changes, but that is unbelievable over really 39. Is. So, obviously, they're hungry and they're excited. They're holding out for something good. Yeah. And they might get something good with Heupel this year. So, I mean, the hype there should be some hype there. If I was a Tennessee fan after seeing last year, and then you always talk about Clark, and it seems like the common thread is – year 2 for a coach is a big year. There should be a big leap in year 2. Yeah. You think about it. Kirby, of course, his year 2 was the Rose Bowl, 2017. And there's many examples of it. Saban's second year at Alabama, he won the West but got beat by Tim Tebow in Florida. And it was a big leap. So that's what they're thinking, that it's a lot to see here in year 2.
Well, and I think the interesting thing, Tennessee, I mean, Kyle, you look at them last year and they had plenty of guys enter the portal before last year after Pruitt left and just decimated them. Sorry. Yeah. And so that was hard for them to recover from. And I tell you, what Josh Heupel did with that offense and the pieces he had last year was actually pretty impressive. And listen, I hate Tennessee with a burning passion. But you do have to give them credit. I think they're definitely on the rise, and they're a team to look out for. Maybe not necessarily this year if you're Georgia, but in the years coming, especially once they start getting their guys in, that's going to be a pretty dangerous team in the future.
They've bought in on NIL. Yeah, and they have the biggest collective outside in the East, in the SEC East. So they bought that in because they are so hungry for it, and that's the way they're wanting to do it. And we'll see if any rules change with that, if they can continue that or not. We'll see. But I tell you, Clark, the violations just came out of Jeremy Pruitt.
Yeah.
Can you imagine cheating like that and losing to Georgia State in your season opener? Like, what was the return on the investment for everybody?
Negative. Bad.
I mean, unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. So, I don't know. Do you think the NCAA will do anything to punish Tennessee now that what was done is very small to what's coming out now? And honestly, we're going to be honest, Clark, very small to what has been done in years past with paying guys. We know good and well that that's been around college football for decades now. But to be so sloppy with it that Jeremy Pruitt was unbelievable, man. And I don't know, now that there's a new AD there now, obviously a new coaching staff, head coach, do you think the NCAA comes down on them, and then now it's legal, what we're hearing with everything? Do they come down on Tennessee with any
That's a good question. They may get a slap on the wrist. Maybe they get a I don't know. I really don't know how all that works, but
we'll see.
That'll be interesting to
very
look out
much
for,
so. So a lot of stuff happening in Knoxville right now.
Adam, we wanted the Jimbo Saban beef.
I want it bad. I wanted some more bulletin board material.
I know we didn't get it. Saban was very upfront about that when he addressed the media at the podium. Will Anderson did say that would be dealt with on the football field.
No, I'm telling you, man. And was there not a A&M player that said this week that Will Anderson didn't have any tackles against them or tackles for a loss against them, and that he really wasn't that good? Something around those lines
was said. I didn't see that.
Something around those lines was said. So I'm telling you, Clark, I'm going to call it right now. Alabama will beat Texas A&M 56-7 at Bryant-Denny Stadium.
It really may be that.
I can't wait to watch that guy. I'm telling you, Clark. I'm telling you. Put it down right now. It will be 56-7 or something just stupid like that. Maybe 41-10, a little bit closer, 41-17 or something. But it will be a beatdown,
especially after what happened in Aggie Land last year to Alabama.
I mean, Texas A&M, man. I don't know. I know there's been some solid recruiting classes, and obviously the one that they got last year or this upcoming year coming in as freshmen, they're not there yet. I mean, obviously in a couple more years they're going to have some guys that are going to be some playmakers and some players. But who's their quarterback going to be? Max Johnson?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, I know he's in a quarterback battle with a couple other guys, for what I've heard, and I'm not impressed by Max Johnson. I don't know.
Well,
do you think that Max Johnson was an upgrade over Zach Calzada? which I don't know. Calzada was real bad at some times.
Yeah.
Played good against that Alabama game, but from A&M fans, from their perspective, it seems like that was the only good game he played, really, and really cost the team a lot more success last year with him at quarterback. I hate to say that, but that's just what you hear.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. I really don't know. Jimbo to be a quarterback guy, an offensive guy, since Jameis Winston. I mean, Kellen Mond was a solid college quarterback, but nothing special. But since the crab thief, talking about crab legs again, talking about crab legs, it comes full circle back to crab legs. There hadn't been just this playmaker guy there for Jimbo, and I don't know. I'm not buying in the Texas A&M hype again. Like I said last episode, 8-4, 9-3 at best, maybe. I think.
Yeah, I think I'm there with you on that, but.
I just love talking about it again. I know we really repeat ourselves from last episode, but hey, stuff can change in a couple weeks since we recorded that. So our feelings might change about everything, but no, I'm dead set on that they're not going to win the West.
No. I don't think they would.
No, I don't think they would. No,
they may come up second.
Yeah, I agree with that. Maybe
Arkansas, there's a lot of wild card teams in the West, I think.
And then talking about Brian Kelly again. You know, they'll play at the end of the year against A&M. By that time, does he have the team clicking in Baton Rouge? Yeah. Or have they fell apart in year one? I don't know, man.
A lot of question marks.
I love it.
One thing's for certain, Nick Saban is going to have a great team. First year in a long time, Adam, and this is a point he made. This is the first year in a long time Alabama has retained both the offense and defense coordinators. Bill O'Brien and Pete Golden coming back.
That is true.
You know, that's something that always happens is Alabama will have a coach, a coordinator, get poached to another team. And so that's interesting that they retain both of them. And we'll see if that pays dividends later on in the season. You know, you don't have to come in and teach a new system. You don't have to use new terminology.
Right.
You know, so maybe that'll help.
I tell you, Clark, it's very interesting. Bill O'Brien's a great offensive mind. Been an NFL head coach, coached Penn State right after the Joe Pa scandal that they had going on. Did a good job kind of getting that program back up the surface a little bit. Yeah. And then went and coached the Texans and stuff happened in the NFL. But I always been I think it was the Patriots offense coordinator for Belichick for a while as well. And he is somebody that obviously has been around the game a long time. And I think that Saban really likes for his coordinators to at least stay 2 years. At least stay 2 years as offense coordinators. And, of course, he's got a lot of weapons in his arsenal right there with the guys returning at Alabama, but Bryce Young primarily. But they're going to run the football. Alabama's going to pound the ball. They're going to be a physical team and good, and the defense will be good as well. Pete Golden, a guy who's been there for a while now, a few years. I'm surprised. I kind of thought that maybe – honestly, I was a little bit nervous, Clark, that they were going to come after Schumann as the primary guy. Yeah. And I don't know that for certain, but I thought maybe when Pete Golden got the DUI charge right after the national championship game a few weeks later, that kind of would have been a chance to replace him. But that tells me that even though the Alabama fans are unhappy with Golden, I think they've been more unhappy with Golden on the defense coordinator position than any of them that they've had during the Saban tenure. Obviously, Kirby was there forever, and then they like Pruitt at the defense coordinator spot for them. So I don't know. It tells me that Saban really thinks a lot of them for that to be the case, for him to stick around there. So, and really wants to keep a consistent staff and everything and really shoot for it all this year, obviously.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you see Nick Saban's?
I watched some of it. Yeah.
So I thought it was interesting. It started raining apparently in Atlanta, pouring on the College Football Hall of Fame where they had the SEC Media Days right as Saban took the podium. So
love it. The good Lord just not wanting them in Atlanta. They want them shining.
Maybe there's just a big storm cloud that just hovers over
Saban's
head the whole time. No. You know, one of the most, I guess the common theme for Saban, though, sure enough, was the NIL deals. A lot of questions were asked.
Well, you know, last year during Media Day, sorry to cut you off, Clark, but that's what he just came out and said Bryce Young's getting $1 million.
Yeah.
Right here. Made it known, went ahead, got out in the open.
Right.
And then this year, what did he say? Did he say that the Alabama collective like what they're on their roster is around 2 million, all of it right now. Is that what it? Is that? I thought I heard that. God, I can't believe I said that without a fact check. But I'm pretty sure he said something along those lines. And if he said last year Bryce Young was getting 1 million of it or even more, so I guess what my point is, it was something that wasn't just a ridiculous number. Right. Alabama would obviously be the team that you would think is the largest brand right now, obviously with Saban and everybody. That's not just this ridiculous number that you hear just thrown out for these kids everywhere. And I think to me, it was a number that was like, well, maybe it's not as much as what you hear these kids are getting paid on the surface and everything. But that was my thought on that. From what I heard his comment, that's the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah. He spoke a lot about competitive balance, right? And how, there are haves in college football and there are have-nots.
Right.
So Georgia is a have.
Yeah.
Alabama, have. But, you talk about some of these other Power 5, smaller Power 5 schools, they may not be able to keep up with the Georgias, right. Alabamas. And it is truly going to be a pay-to-play kind of thing if there aren't guardrails in place to protect these kids. A lot of these kids are coming from high school without anything, right? And money, a good, $10,000, $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 deal. That sounds really enticing.
And you can't fault them for that.
No.
Especially with some of the scenarios that they need the money for. It's not just to go out and buy brand new cars and all this stuff. It is for things that really should be addressed, and they had the opportunity to do it. They're going to do it, and I don't blame them one bit because they need to.
And he said, he made it known that NIL is a good thing. The basis of it, the purpose of it is a good thing, but how we are, inducing kids to come to college, with and get an X amount of dollars, that's may not be a good thing. So
I agree. I love the idea of them coming in and then taking, not letting the money be the reason why you go to school. Go to the school, visit the campus, see the campus life, meet the staff, the other players, the facilities, everything, and the culture, and that make your decision. And then obviously it might be that, hey, I can make money at this place, so I'm going to go here as well. But not just the bottom dollar that they're going to pay you be the driving factor in it. But then you go and then you put in the work and then you get paid.
Right.
That is what I believe should be, instead of a just X amount of money to come here or there.
Yeah, I think most of the coaches are against that kind of.
That was my main takeaway from it too. That's what I felt like. Get to Kirby said, a lot of them said that too. So.
And I mean,
sorry, one more thing. It's really an interesting conversation. Well, Clark, who's going to stop it? Who's going to stop it? Well, is a U.S. senator going to come stop? Is anybody in Congress? I mean, seriously, who is going to put it to the table, and who has the authority to stop it?
I feel like the NCAA could, but they just don't want to.
I don't know. I mean, who is it going to be? So where are there going to be? Where are you going to draw the line? When you open them gates up, when this came out and the gates were opened up, there was no line to me. I didn't see it. Did you see it?
No, there's still not a line.
Did any of our listeners see it? There wasn't a line, so everybody was, oh, here we go. Now it's wide in the open. Everything's fair game now. So where are you going to draw that line at?
Yeah, well, and the line is whether or not they're professionals or amateurs, right? 3 years ago, they were amateurs. Now
if you get paid $8 million to come play quarterback at the University of Tennessee at 18 years old, you're a professional.
Right. And here's the thing that's kind of tricky. There's nobody protecting these kids and making sure that they are getting paid and that these deals are going through and that when they do agree on a deal, that it's followed through and everything's,
Right. Well, you start hearing about Lincoln Riley and USC and what they brought to the table, really wanting to just overnight come back to the USC of old in the mid-2000s with Leinart, Reggie Bush, Pete Carroll, and those guys longing to get there. Then you hear Jordan Addison, the highly regarded wide receiver from Pittsburgh who transferred there. It just came out here recently that He's upset because all what he was promised and his NIL deal wasn't there or something. How much of that you're going to get going on? That's going to get in the locker room and hurt team chemistry and everything. Right. And then these guys are not reading the fine print. They just hear a money figure. And if they're not advised, Clark, especially on taxes too.
Oh yeah,
they can get upside down in a hurry and stuff. And I just wonder what's it going to take to put limitations on it. Obviously, selfishly for me and you, Clark, we're traditional college football fans. We don't want to see nothing change. But it's going there, and I just don't want it to. Obviously, I don't want the game to change, but I don't want any of these young athletes to hurt themselves in the process by making a decision that they're going to regret the entirety of the rest of their life.
Yeah. And I think, once again, going back to NIL stuff being good, it is good. When I worked with the team, I saw that these players, they wake up at 5 a.m., they go work out, they have a team meeting. They then go to class from 8 to 2 o'clock. They go to practice. They're there till about 6. They have to eat. And, they may get 2 hours to rest and do homework and study and all that crap, and then they go back to bed. They don't have time to go make money for themselves,
exactly.
And that's
or for their family that they need to send home. You're right. Exactly.
So
I agree with that.
I do think NIL is good. We just have to figure out how this money is going to be distributed and
how is it going to affect when you bring in a star quarterback making multiple 7-figure money compared to a second string offensive lineman, left guard.
Like, let me ask you, do you think there should be like a salary cap, like the NFL has, or
I don't know, man. I don't think so, because I think if somebody like Bryce Young, who is a returning Heisman winner, wants to come back and can capitalize on what he has done on the field, I think he deserves to do that.
Yeah.
Or Stetson Bennett, anybody who decides to come back and what they have done on the field has catapulted them into a position to make money by, like, if a Keely Ringo decided to print his picture catching that interception ball and make just bukus of money off of it, because you would buy it, I'd buy it, then they should be able to, because they made that play, and it shouldn't be that just because there's a cap on it, they should get a limited amount what they could go for, And then you can say, well, then it's contradicting, I guess, myself talking about that. And then you got these high school players that are doing it on the field too. They wouldn't be ranked and highly regarded as they are if they didn't on the high school football field. I just think I just wish they could do it on the collegiate field before they start making all that money.
Yeah.
Go out there and prove yourself on the collegiate field. Go make a play in the SEC game and build your brand up and your name up, and then get paid, man. And I want somebody to go, and Clark, and selfishly as a diehard fan, and we've gone off on a tangent with this, but it needs to be said, we didn't go as deep on it last episode. I don't want a kid to come to the University of Georgia because they're getting paid this amount of money. I want a kid to come to the University of Georgia because he loves Kirby Smart and the coaching staff, because he thinks Athens is a beautiful place.
Yep.
He loves the environment that Athens has to offer.
Getting a great education.
Fall in love, yes, and fall in love with it. And exactly, getting a great education. That's
what it's all about.
Exactly. A great education at the University of Georgia. But I want that opposed to this kid's coming because we're signing X amount on check, and there's really... And I guess it could, we'll see if a loyalty can be built up. But the guys like Jordan Davis who came in, grew up, or, came in, fell in love with Athens, and it just grew. And then, bam, you get that connection, that team chemistry that they built, and it turns into what happened last year. Yeah. So my thoughts are worthless on the subject because I'm not in the arena by any means. But that's my take, and I think that would be a fan's standpoint from what the majority of our fan base would feel like needs to happen. Right.
Let's move on to Vandy and Clark Lee.
Oh yeah, they need to get an NIL collective up if they want to get to where he was talking about.
I tell you, they have a lot of money. These Vandy alums. Adam,
lawyers, med school.
You're referring to the quote. We know in time Vanderbilt football will be the best program in the country.
He said it, didn't he?
He did say that.
He did. I mean, it was word for word. There wasn't any stuttering in it.
No.
There was no way we could have twisted that into anything else, right? It was just said, what he said, we know in time Vanderbilt football will be the best program in the country. Clark.
Not one of the best.
Clark, the best. All right, Clark. Did you know that? Did you have that feeling that Vanderbilt football is on the rise?
I have never once had that feeling, ever.
Let's ask our wives. Kelsey, Caitlin, did y'all know that Vanderbilt football was on the rise to be one of the best the best program in college football? Nah. I didn't think about that in Nashville. They didn't look like they were a program on the rise last September in Nashville when they got curb stomped 62-0. But hey, man, if that's what he could get his guys to believe, is to go on the podium and make that statement and just get some belief going, man. God bless you, brother. God bless you. Go get them fired up. Establish a culture in there. I thought he meant baseball when he first said
academics.
Academics, law school, med school. That's what they're known for, man.
Academic
But
bowl.
I'll be dang, he said in due time. And we all know it. We all, Clark, man. I hear you, brother. Look.
Well,
hey.
and to his defense, though, what are you supposed to go say? Like, oh, well, we're just going to go settle for.
We're competing. We're getting better. And our job is to get better every single day and see where it takes us, Clark. Let me write the speech for him. Let me tell him what he should say. We're getting out there and we're trying to make ourselves better each and every day. The team is focused. We believe in each other, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
We have a belief in our locker room that we're going to go out there and we're going to give it our all and win some football games. Well, let's focus on winning the conference game first.
I was about to say, that's a huge lead.
Before saying that, but hey, man, maybe he thought his team needed to hear that. Right. And then there was an idiot in the national media that their credentials need to be stripped of the SEC media days and given to us that voted them number one to win the SEC championship.
Surely.
I promise you it did. You didn't see like the list of first place votes at the end of it, and then there's a little parentheses with a one by Vanderbilt.
I saw it, but surely
there were some that voted South Carolina too.
Surely that's a joke.
Three of them voted South Carolina.
Oh my gosh.
Can you believe that? That is unbelievable. I mean, how can anybody look?
Somebody lost a bet or something and had to vote for Vandy.
When I read that, I had to read it about 3 times. When I was like, did Clark Lee really just say that? Man, I would just kind of lay low and let my program build and not put a big old spotlight like that right there just cast on your program, because everybody's going to remember that. Nobody was going to think about Vanderbilt first, so you could just silently come up on somebody, go get somebody, go pop somebody one good time and get up. But now, no. Everybody's going to remember that.
Yeah,
it wasn't trashed. I'm sorry.
No.
But really, I just thought it could have been worded differently, that we're confident in our program. Mm-hmm. Or he could have said, I feel like but for everybody, that's a lie. The man just lied on national television.
Well, when you're trying to promote a football,
I don't feel like it.
Yeah.
I don't feel like they're going to be the best.
Yeah. When you're trying to promote a football program like Vandy, Adam, you do have to take advantage of the 10,000 or so people watching SEC Media Days, because that is more than Vandy's cumulative home attendance record in the season.
Well, I'm telling you, they probably need to be trying to figure out how to be the best program in their part of the state of Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders up in Murfreesboro are a better football program. But Anyway, I don't know, man. I've been sore towards the Vanderbilt Commodores, even though I know Clark Lee, God bless him. Oh, Clark Lee. He wasn't there. He wasn't there during the Derek Mason tenure when they stripped our seniors of senior day during the COVID game. They forgot to play. They didn't want to play us. And I've had a personal vendetta against the Vanderbilt Commodores ever since that day. Mm-hmm. Every day, whatever they're in, I don't want to affiliate with a Vanderbilt Commodore. Let them know. I would bark in their fans' faces, bark in their children's faces. I'm just kidding. I don't bark at children. Don't bark at children. If you bark at children, that don't represent the fan base like that. But yeah, Vanderbilt Commodore football fans, man, are a unicorn. They're a unicorn.
500.
They're a unicorn. You don't see them.
Yeah.
But when you do see them, you let them know.
You
let them know.
Oh gosh. Adam, Clark Lee's opening statement lasted 17 minutes.
He didn't.
So that has to be a record of some sort. 17 minutes. It was an absolute yawn fest. And, it sounded like a TED Talk or something. Mm-hmm. Just very professional and well-spoken.
Was there a lot of energy? A lot of energy? They at least bring some good charisma to the table?
Not really.
Was that
way? It was pretty boring. I got to be honest.
Well, hey, man, there's only one direction to go for the program. That's
true. That is true. Or in their case, go straight to the peak this year. Golly.
Skip the steps.
Yeah.
Skip.
Just scale the mountain this year.
Dang it, boy. I heard that.
I tell you, Adam, there, we can't get past Vandy, but listen, I think
we didn't even talk about him in the
the show. We totally skipped him. I think
that's
Vandy,
what happened. Yeah. Clark Lee got wind that we didn't even mention the Vanderbilt Commodores last episode for the preview of the SEC Media Days. And he came out, he's like, I'm going to show them boys. That's exactly what happened. Because Clark Lee is a loyal listener to the Row 60 podcast.
He's a friend of the show.
He's a friend of the show.
Oh my gosh, Adam, 50,000 to 1 odds that Vanderbilt wins a national championship this year. Are you taking those odds? No, I'm serious. That's the actual number out of Vegas.
We go to Vegas right now and put it on.
Heck, you don't even have to go to Vegas. You can probably do it online.
That would be money wasted. I'm not taking. I want to know what the odds are they actually win the SEC game.
Yeah,
I know we should have done just our own Vanderbilt Commodore football preview. But anyway, I mean, good for him. But it really astonished me. It really astonished me.
Oh, Clark Lee. God bless him. All right. Another coach that I just loved listening to, Mike Leach. He is a national treasure, Adam. Had a very short opening statement that contrasts with Clark Lee. His opening statement was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, six words. You ready?
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. Any questions?
Love it. In Mike Leach fashion, man. Just to the point.
Yeah. He was asked about his favorite Netflix shows. One of them was Stranger Things. And Adam, one of your favorite shows, I would assume, is Yellowstone.
It is definitely the best show on television. I will argue anybody about it right now. On TV right now, Yellowstone is the best show on television.
Man. Now, is it over, Adam? I thought.
No. There's a new season coming out like November 12th, 13th.
All right.
So season
is that the last season?
Probably.
Okay.
It hadn't been official, but I think it.
Interesting. Well, you and
right in the middle of football season, baby.
Yeah, you and Mike Leach like Yellowstone.
I'd love for him to come to the shop and watch it with me.
Yeah,
I would love to analyze Yellowstone with Mike Leach and talk about each character and what he feels like is going to happen
next.
And,
coaches are really good at predicting what is going to happen next.
If me and Mike Leach drinking a cup of coffee watching Yellowstone would be an intellectual conversation. I love it.
We may have to record that if that were to ever happen. Adam, he wore khakis, which was amazing. And he sported a water bottle in his coat pocket like this. I mean, like literally right there. It was just majestic.
Oh, I loved it. I love it. Oh, Mike Leach. He's a good one.
I don't know what he actually talked about football-wise.
What did we say? He will do everything not to talk X's and O's. There would not be any X's and O's talk.
No, I know he did, but
not really. I mean,
but he did talk about the conference realignment, and one thing that he suggested, and some people have mentioned this before, was that Alabama and Auburn should move to the east with Georgia, Florida, and Tennessee and the like, and then Texas and Oklahoma should join the West. Adam, what are your thoughts on that? I thought that was a really good point.
I mean, it makes geographical sense. If you draw a line a little bit west of Tuscaloosa, Alabama, put it there, and every team to the east of that is in the east, and every team in the west is in the west, you get, 8 teams in each side? I mean, it does make sense. I mean, obviously, us as Georgia fans, we don't want to see that because then it would just be tougher to get there every year for us. Not saying, I mean, Georgia would compete, definitely, but it would be a tougher road to get to Atlanta. But I like the idea of changing it up and being able to play everybody and go it is insane that we have not been in College Station, Texas, and they are entering this year will be their 10th year in the league. Yeah. 2012, their first year, and we have not played them in College Station yet. So I like the idea of having 1 or 2 permanent opponents and then kind of rotating it up.
Who would Georgia's 1 or 2 opponent?
It's been discussed. I thought this was going to come out this week, what they were going to finalize. There's been everything from pods, 4 teams, but two teams that you want to just go to scenario, 2 teams who Georgia, I think Georgia and Florida is going to stay together. Yeah. Whether it's just 1 opponent, 2, 4, whatever, Georgia and Florida are going to play. And the second one might be South Carolina. Just geographically right there. It might be paired up like that, or I could see Kentucky or somebody. I don't know. They might, if they do 2, they might do Auburn.
Auburn divisions.
Well, if they do 2 teams, excuse me. Each team has 2. Auburn would have Alabama and Georgia. Georgia would have Florida and Auburn. You know, try to keep those traditional rivalries up. But I don't know. I think we're about to the end of seeing some of these traditional games played. Seeing the third Saturday in October, which I know hadn't been the third Saturday every year, but Alabama and Tennessee playing every year gone. Georgia and Florida in Jacksonville with this might be gone. And, I mean, that's something else we could talk about. Kirby made some statements about it. And I don't know. A lot's going to change, but it's all speculation at this point on how they're going to do the schedule and who's going to be permanent opponents and whatnot. So we'll see. We'll see.
Speaking of Florida, Billy Napier, I tell you, Adam, it's hard not to like this guy.
Yeah.
Now, come October, late October,
we're not gonna like
Billy Napier. I don't care a thing in the world about Billy Napier, but I will say this: he does seem like a very classy individual, which is really, really interesting. For the University of Florida, because the last three
there's not a lot of classy individuals in that program.
No, there's not, especially the fan base. Sorry. That was kind of mean. But the past three head coaches at Florida, Adam, have just been goobers. All right. We're going to start with Mullen. Absolute clown. McElwain, clown.
Been seen taking pictures with sharks.
McElwain? Yeah. Oh, gosh. You know, he just seemed like
Mullen. Let's go through.
Should we go through? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, people will like that. We could go away from the media talk. Let's talk about the history of the Florida coaches.
Okay. All right.
Mullen, wife kissed every player in the mouth. Okay.
Really weird.
Mullen did interesting dance moves on the sideline. Dressed up in a Halloween costume.
Darth Vader.
I really didn't think recruiting was that big of a deal, really. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
I think during the season?
That's definitely fair.
Yeah. Okay. So
strange guy.
Yeah, strange guy. McElwain. Now, I don't have a lot of ill will towards Jim.
No.
Jim won him a couple of Eastern Division titles.
He did.
When Rick's last year and when Kirby was in his first year, but I don't know. But
he just had him
say it just is a Midwestern guy that did not fit in the SEC. It was too big time for him. He's at Central Michigan where he could be a successful coach.
Yeah, he just seemed like he wandered off the beach and just kind of wandered into this head coaching position.
Wandered off
in his PFG, in his toe sandals and his visor turned backwards and his Costa sunglasses.
No, I don't know.
Just a strange individual.
It just didn't like. I mean, didn't like him at the University of Florida.
And then at the time, now we love this guy, but at the time, Will Muschamp at Florida, that was the third head coach we're talking about. He was just a goober. You know?
I mean, I didn't really care for Will Muschamp at that time a lot because of what he said in his introductory. I mean, he's our co-defense coordinator now.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna talk about it a lot now. And I loved him before then, and gotten back in good graces with him now. Yeah. The relationship with Kirby and everything, obviously, we love him. But at the time of when he was at Florida, he took a lot of jabs at Georgia, talking about how stuff about being thankful there and all this stuff. And I just remember that during that time when he was hired in 2011. Yeah, but when you go back even further, Urban Meyer is the biggest of them all.
Yeah, that's true. Before we get to Kirby, one more coach we're going to talk about right quick. Shane Beamer. Nice guy, Shane.
I can't wait till we play South Carolina in week 3, and we're just going to get a generic picture frame at Walmart where I can prove my point that I've been talking about for years.
And we are going to Photoshop his face.
We got a lot to touch on old Shane Beamer.
He had a very long-winded opening statement, just a lot of rah-rah, hyping up the Carolina brand.
Yeah. And we knew that. We knew this was going to be the deal. We could see it from a mile away. That's good. That's good.
Takeo Spikes, Adam, who made his debut on SEC Network the other day, made a very bold prediction, and he said that USC Junior would upset Georgia in Williams-Brice. Adam, what do you think about that?
It's not happening this year, Carter. It's not. It's not week 3. Yeah, I mean, it scares me that there's a lot of young guys that are going to be growing up at that point in the season, but the talent's there. Georgia will be prepared. We'll get to Kirby Smart's comments here in a little bit, but they'll be prepared. And I think Carolina will beat some people this year they're not supposed to. And play good football, but I just don't see us at a noon game. I like that it's at 12 o'clock.
Yeah, me too.
And I don't see them beating Georgia the third week. I mean, yeah, it might not be a blowout. We might just, it might be Georgia still kind of a little bit rusty, and then Carolina with the home field advantage. We might just slip out there with a 10-point win or something. But I do not see South Carolina beating Georgia.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll be rocking even for a noon kickoff. They're going to be. I mean, that's the thing now is Georgia fans now we're the Alabama type. When we go to a opponent stadium now, and it's been this way the past couple years, but really ramped up now. They're going to have the parades. They're going to bring back the old legends and ride them around downtown, and everybody get excited. Everybody's at the bar the Friday night before the game talking about what their celebration is going to be after they beat Georgia. They're going to ask their buddies, are you going to run on the field after we do this and stuff? And
are you going to tear down the goalposts?
Oh, yeah. And then and that kind of deal, So we're going to go in them environments with people with just high expectation. That's what makes college football good. Because we've been there, Clark. We've been there as Georgia fans, of course. Yep. But Georgia's now that team now that everybody has circled. And I just don't think South Carolina is there right now. Not to take anything away from what Shane Beamer has done with that program, but they're not going to beat Georgia in week 3.
No.
I mean, obviously this is a Georgia podcast, but I mean, I'd tell you if I thought they would. I don't think they will.
Is Shane Beamer's what do you call these podium speeches, press, whatever. He was very professional about it.
Oh, was he?
But he had some good youthfulness to it.
Of course.
And speaking of youthfulness,
kind of like a youth pastor.
Yeah. That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
That really is a great analogy.
Like really like hip with the kids.
Yeah. Can sing Soulja Boy.
Yeah.
And make a video about it. Oh my gosh, Adam, what were your initial thoughts?
Was that the song? Was the song Soulja Boy?
Well, no. The artist is Soulja Boy, but
okay, all right. Well, I did hear. I showed the video to my wife. She said that song was like 14 years old. I didn't recognize the song, but they said it was probably not a song that the cool kids like these days.
Right.
But when that song came on and the production, Clark, you a video man, was that a pretty good produced film?
It was solid.
Synced,
for
the timing synced.
I know they had to do that really quickly because I'm pretty sure he hopped on the flight right before.
Okay, so it was more of a hype or like a rah-rah getting jacked up.
I think it was just very quick. Like they had to get it going, but video production standpoint, pretty solid.
Okay, all right. Well, as far as that went, it seemed very gimmicky to me, very cringe to me. But now I'm definitely not a cool kid, and I'm definitely not an 18-year-old cool kid. So I don't know if that appealed to them or not. To me, it was a little bit cringy. But hey, man, you do whatever you can to get recognized. He's getting talked about.
That's true.
And a wise man once said, any publicity is good publicity.
Especially here on Row 60.
But anyway, Shane Beamer with that, I don't know. I don't like it's gimmicky. Clark, is there any coach that has kind of molded themselves into this in a gimmicky way? Like Butch Jones, the brick by brick, the bricklayer. Who's some other good just gimmick stuff that is, you think of guys who've just been very, Dan Mullen. Dan Mullen, I think is very good. Would you put Gus Malzahn in the gimmicky? I think the play calling was gimmicky. The play calling was gimmicky.
It was.
I don't know. I don't know if I'd put him completely in the category of the Butch Joneses of the world, mate. I don't know.
Well, he wore a sweater vest. So that in and of itself puts him in the gimmicky category.
I don't know. I just think there's some, I haven't seen kind of the formula that Shane Beamer's going down. I take that back. Maybe you can kind of correlate it in a different way to a Dabo type, a guy who was never been a coordinator. They want to bring him on. South Carolina's trying to get their Dabo out of Shane Beamer, and Dabo has his quirky tendencies as well, and he won 2 national championships.
A lot of Clemson fans and Carolina fans who are listening to our podcast right now are cringing at the fact that you just compared Dabo to Shane.
I'm not right. No, you're right. But I'm talking about kind of what South Carolina people are hoping that he's going to be. No, kind of the formula that was laid out of what they were hoping. Just like, honestly, we'll say it. Well, we brought Kirby Smart home. Yeah, he's one of our guys. We want him in there, but we wanted to mold the Alabama program and him to be Nick Saban, right?
Yep.
So,
same thing.
and that's kind of what they're going for with him. But I don't know, man. I mean,
give him some time. Give the man some
we'll
time.
see how he recruits and does. We'll give him some time. But I personally, I don't know. Maybe that's the direction college football is going in the music video industry now. But head coach is doing it. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe the kids liked it.
All right, let's move on. Last but not least, Kirby Smart. The word of the day, Adam, that rang throughout really the whole day in any interview he had was complacency. And complacency, according to Kirby, doesn't concern him in the least, which is really good.
Now, you dang right. That's good to know, Clark.
It's really good.
I tell you what Kirby Smart did, Clark, because when I watched that interview when I got off work the other day and I saw that, I had it recorded and I came down to the shop and I turned that thing on. I was ready to run through that wall right there. I mean, is a better speaker than Gandhi.
Wow.
More. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Gandhi was a big. He was a wise man.
He was very wise. He had some incredible.
Yes. Kirby is Gandhi level over the years with what he has brought to the table, Clark.
Yeah.
And I mean, you think of the quotes we have had. You can just write books upon books on pressure is a privilege. Keep the main thing the main thing.
You're
How
either
about
elite.
them effing dogs. Calm the F down. You're either elite or you're not elite. I mean, we could go on and on what Kirby Smart does and what he says and the wisdom that comes out in every single circumstance. But I think it was his best job today. Because he put the world on notice that Georgia ain't going anywhere.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Georgia's not going nowhere, Clark, and we're going to be right back where we're going to beat this season. I was like, what it told me, Clark, is the national championships behind him. Yeah, it was great. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it later on, but right now, we can't get complacent. And when he brought that up, and he said, let's go. Yeah. And it spoke to us, Clark, as fans. We need to get out of the national championship.
Yeah.
We gotta get ready for our job as fans, which is a pivotal part in the team's success. Of getting our mindset right on the upcoming season.
Oh my gosh. Well,
but anyway,
one of those Gandhi-like quotes was, "We didn't build this program on hoping for one-year wonders. We built a program to be sustained." I thought that was really profound. Right. I think he's seen. He definitely paid attention to LSU, that Joe Burrow era, and saw what happened afterwards. And so that's good that he sees that. And then people have asked the question. This is a quote from Kirby. Yep. People have asked the question, how does it feel to be hunted? We will not be hunted at the University of Georgia. I can promise you that.
That's when I was ready to go through the wall right there.
Yeah.
That we will always be the hunters at the University of Georgia.
Yeah.
Dang right. Tee up the dang ball right now is what I said when I heard
I'll tell you, Kirby needs to put us on kickoff team and just let us run down the field. The ball's going to be kicked out of the end zone anyway.
And just
we're just going to
get the fans just hyped. But
run in the end zone to do that.
I mean, just the in-depth just detail he had. He worked those reporters just beautifully. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's just become such a great representative. In these press conferences.
And one thing that Tebow said he said that you can tell that you have a really well-coached football team when you see players echoing what you're saying as a coach. And that's important.
That's been ingrained. That's exactly right.
Kirby did mention also having a lot of talent, just not enough experience. And that is going to come with time. We've got a very young, unexperienced defense.
Yeah.
And, give us a couple of games, guys. I think
That's right.
I think this Oregon game, we may be out of position. There are going to be some busts. But there's going to be some learning that takes place.
I think, yes, and that's the only experience you could get by, like you said, Clark, getting in the game, getting in the real deal, and catching up to speed with how SEC football is, and also being prepared, though, for it, knowing where you're supposed to be at. And like you said, there will probably be some busted coverage and trying to get guys lined up. Mm-hmm. But more importantly is these guys got to step up and see what happened last year with these guys that are now in the NFL, and he touched on that, and develop and be the leaders. And from what he said, guys are mirroring what the guys that left behind did, and the Georgia way that has been built for years now.
Yeah,
and there is no doubt in my mind that guys will rise up and this team is going to be a team that is very tight, very bonded group, and going to continue to grow throughout the year. Like you said, the talent's there, but we got to get that experience. So.
Yeah. Kirby also mentioned skull sessions. I remember I think they did these when I was there, but they essentially it's like 15-minute little breakout periods where they go and talk with each other and they interact with each other and they get to know each other and learn.
Yeah.
Adam, you were on a football team like I was. Sometimes when I played football, I knew most of the guys, but I didn't know. Yeah. I didn't have that bond with them, and that's important as a football team, and that's one of the reasons why I think last year we were so successful.
Right. I mean, every group you see, the 2017 group that went to the national championship had leaders, had a bond, and had everybody that had the same goal in mind. There wasn't a divided locker room. There wasn't that. So that is the first thing I feel like you have to establish in the locker room is get that. And if you don't have that, you're not going to win a championship. I don't care how much talent you have. Yeah. And also what I love is he said that he was studying and brought to light of people who had success. And I love this angle of it, not only in sports, but in businesses, in history. Like Napoleon got a big head. He went into Russia, tried to invade Russia, and in the wintertime. And he didn't make it. Yeah. He had too big of a head, Right. He had a big ego about himself, and that's the type of history that you gotta correlate with on the football field. Yeah. Was if you get too confident, you get complacent, thinking you could just steamroll folks, and you get tunnel vision, and you don't look at the big picture, then you could very well get stranded in the middle of the Russia in wintertime and not win it. And then it repeats itself. It repeated itself in World War II as well. Yeah. I mean, that's just kind of my history lesson I'm going to throw out. But I guess I took it, that's the kind of thing, maybe not that exactly, but they really did dove into history of stuff outside of football where time and time again, complacency and mindsets of when you're at the top of being content with it has just came back to bite people. Yeah. And I mean, that's taking it to another level. When I heard him say that, I was like, dang, that's good stuff right there. Something we all could learn from.
Absolutely. Kirby also made a great point. He was talking about complacency. In order to be complacent, you have to have success. Well, he was saying that this is a new team. They haven't had any success yet. We haven't played a snap of football. And that's really, that as a fan, that makes me really excited to know that we aren't getting comfortable.
It's a clean slate, baby. I mean, as Bob Seger said, turn the page and let's go.
Yes. Adam, we need to sing Turn the Page one day together, karaoke style.
Oh, yeah. Do it.
Oh, my gosh. Kirby also brought up another point. He said that this is probably the best staff he's ever had at the University of Georgia.
I like it, man. I like it. There was a lot of names that were replaced last year. Yeah. And a lot of guys that came in. So I like that. I don't think he'd say that just to say it. I think he really likes where this group is and where this staff is, He
was asked about Stetson quite a few times. And referencing the national championship game, him and Monken, they wanted to be aggressive in that game, Adam, and didn't want to hide behind their quarterback. He also had this quote, people just keep doubting him, talking about Stetson, and that's fine with me.
Yeah, and I think it's fine with Stetson too. I think Stetson would prefer that, Yeah. A guy that's very motivated like that. And there's a lot of special athletes who are championship caliber athletes. I was watching a documentary about Derek Jeter, the captain.
Oh, yeah.
Just came on. And that same thing he said, he probably wasn't a better shortstop in the late 90s than Alex Rodriguez. Mm-hmm. But he had that, but people kept doubting him. And all he did is win there in the 90s and the early 2000s. I mean, they could have very well won 7. I mean, within the eyelash winning 7 straight World Series titles, going to 9 straight. But anyway, what I'm saying is some people have just that special it factor about them that they might not be the stat. He might not throw the most touchdown passes, be the most glamorous out there, but knows how to win.
That's it, man.
And give me a team full of that every single day, Clark. And I think Stetson has that it factor of just knowing how to win football games. And you're going to see that elevated even more this year.
Yeah. I'm just so sick and tired of hearing people still doubting this guy. I'm trying to move past it. I don't really care what. Here's the thing, Adam. These coaches do not care a thing in the world about what we have to say. They don't care about our opinions. And I know that's a cold, hard truth, and that might sound a little brash, but they don't give a crap because here's the thing. They're out there with these guys daily. They know what's going on. They evaluate their practice. They evaluate the games. We don't. We just see the games. We see the surface level,
and we don't know anything about.
Hey, that's the thing. We want to think, and we have a good idea.
And we have some opinions. We have some opinions, and it's okay. And I've had different opinions from them that's later turned out to be I was in the wrong.
Yeah, and I think we can all say that. But and it's okay to have an opinion. I'm not saying don't have opinions, but at the same time, don't bash, especially your own team's head coach. I don't get that. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah, and I mean, we might be a little bit more glass half full approach for Georgia football, but Clark, this isn't the 2015 season.
No.
Going into 2016, and we're just pumping sunshine up everybody's rear end.
This is the real deal.
We're the defending national champions, had X amount of number of top 5 recruiting classes. I mean, if you looked at it, and you would think that we were just complete homers, which we are, but it's not just unrealistic, delusional stuff we're saying about Georgia football, where we're at. I mean, a few years ago we said all this stuff. We would be out of our minds saying it. But this is where the program is right now. Mm-hmm. And it'll be interesting to see this year if they can maintain where they're at right now and continue just to get better and not get complacent, what Kirby Smart was preaching. And I think it's going to be another special year.
Yeah. I think as far as Stetson goes, he is the guy this year. There's no doubt about it. And this is the first year in which he's gone into a season knowing he's the guy, and the team knowing he's the guy. I think there was even a little bit of divide last year. You may have had Jermaine Burton really wanting JT to be the starter because maybe he'd get more touches.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just speculation. But my point is, man, Stetson's the guy. He's playing with house money this year. Really.
Yeah, shoot. It's one thing it'll be interesting to see how his game is. Has he hit his ceiling, Clark, or is he going to progress and be better next year? Or what, as far as where he's at right now. But I think he's going to be solid. I think he is going to lead the offense very well. Mm-hmm. And if there is something that, if Lord forbid, knock on wood, that there's not an injury or anything, there's going to be guys prepared behind them that are talented too. And for whatever has been said about quarterback history at the University of Georgia during Kirby's tenure, yes, there's some opinions out there. Yes, I have them. Clark has them, you have them, and there's been some stuff to the average fan that like the writing was on the wall, what should have been done. And there is some cases, in one instance, probably hindsight 2020, could have went a different direction, but that's water under the bridge. That horse has been dead for a long time right now, so there ain't no reason to take a baseball bat and keep beating them.
Yeah.
So I trust this offensive staff, especially Todd Monken. Mm-hmm. Out of anybody, Todd Monken is a guy who I hope we lock down for a few more years at the University of Georgia. Pay that man, because if you keep him, there's going to be more national championships here in the next few years. He's a special coach, special offensive mind, and you got to trust his quarterback evaluation. And it's exciting to go into this season with knowing Stetson's the guy, and we'll see a lot of offensive firepower. And
absolutely,
I'm excited, man. I'm just going to be honest. I think the offense at the beginning part of the year is going to have to carry the defense, and we have more episodes before we're going to get into. But especially on the defensive side, you're going to be breaking in more of a new guys out there. Yeah. And this is a year, especially the first part of the year, going to Oregon, playing Oregon in Atlanta, going to South Carolina, that I feel like the offense is going to have to step up and make some plays to help the defense when they're still trying to get their identity, and get guys experienced and settled in.
Yeah.
And I think they will. I think that's what sets up beautifully about this team.
Mm-hmm. Kirby Smart, like we mentioned earlier in the show, he got a 10-year contract extension, getting paid $112 million over the course of that 10 years. That is a lot of money.
A lot of money.
Adam, let's talk about Kirby a little bit, just kind of the history. Man, did you ever think at any point that we would ever have Kirby, in the Mark Richt era, that we would ever get Kirby Smart, and that he would be our guy that would win us that national championship that we'd long for?
I always thought he would be the head coach whenever that time came. I remember him being the running backs coach in 2005 for that SEC championship team. Then he went to the Dolphins, and then, of course, he followed Saban around. And I remember one of my first memories of Kirby Smart coming back to Georgia to coach was after Willie Martinez was fired after the 2009 season, and Todd Grantham came in 2010, and there was a lot of chatter, if I remember correctly, and of Kirby Smart coming in and being the defense coordinator for Mark Richt. And people thought it was going to happen. It was 100% going to happen. Like, oh, get out of Saban's wing, run the defense by yourself. Yeah. And legend has it that Saban told him, just wait a few years, stay here, wait a few years under me, and you can go back there and be the head man. And obviously, 7 years later,
he is. Yeah,
that happened. And you think about that time just for fun, off season chatter. Who the main guys were that you wanted in December of 2015? Kirby Smart obviously was the right choice and a guy that was high on the board. But some people were like, "Give me Tom Herman." Ooh. And you saw how that translated.
Yeah.
And kind of some other names thrown around there, but Kirby Smart was the guy. I'm glad it happened. And what he's done, where this program has been at, man, is unreal. We're a spoiled fan base.
Yeah.
And, man, it's been a dream.
Let me ask you this too, Adam. Oh man, this hurts to talk about, but that 2012 SEC championship game, let's just assume we score out there. We go on and we boat race Notre Dame down in Miami. Is Mark Richt, how much longer does he stick around?
Well, I'll tell you this, what happens in that scenario is Mark Richt gets a national championship, which I would have loved to have seen. That would have been wonderful because I love Mark Richt, love what he's done for this program, and will always love and respect that man. And thankful for him building a foundation to where this program is now. He never would have gotten fired or pushed out the door. He would have retired on his own terms. You would have think if it kept playing out right now, health issues would have pushed him out about 2018. The success between 12 and 18, I don't know. I don't know where the Georgia fans would have been at, but we would have had that national championship and been elated like we're elated right now.
Yeah.
And what would have happened then is Kirby Smart would have been the head coach in Auburn, Alabama, for Auburn. And for the 2013 season, there would be no Gus Malzahn there because Kirby Smart would have been able to join. I think what happened, what I've always heard, why he didn't get the Auburn job in 13 was because he wanted to stay on staff the rest of December and through the national championship game when Alabama played Notre Dame, and Auburn didn't like that, so went with Gus Malzahn. So obviously, if they would have lost to Georgia, they just would have been playing in Sugar Bowl, Capital One Bowl, something like that. He probably would have left and went to Auburn. Wow. So, I mean, you think about it. If Chris Conley doesn't catch that pass or doesn't get batted down, and Georgia goes on and scores right there, it changed. I mean, it's funny to look at, but that's crazy. That could very well have been the case. But looking back at it, I'm glad we're here where we're at right now.
Well, I'm glad we've got Kirby locked down for another 10 years because I think everyone in this fan base loves Kirby. And there's been some times where Kirby, to some people, he's been on the hot seat. To some people, and that those people are crazy, but. I'm so thankful that he's here. He's a dog, and he's built this staff around him, and he's finally gotten this culture established at Georgia.
Well, I'm excited to see where it goes now. I'm excited to talk about this upcoming season. I'm excited to watch this season because the big monkey is off everybody's back. The big question that was always asked, I think the pressure that was released from this coaching staff and everybody affiliated with the program of winning a national championship finally has now been lifted. Right. It's there, and bam, let's go. Let's go get some more. So
I hear you.
It is very exciting to see what this season will feel like being defending national champions and how this program responds to it. That's what's going to take, being on the mountaintop, like you said, going out. And he couldn't have knocked it out of the park with what he said in the press conference for fans to see and to hear to give hope for this season any better than he did, kind of putting that behind us. It's a new slate. It's time to roll. Talking about complacency, not letting it creep in, and being the hunter, still having that chip on their shoulder to go out and do it. You couldn't ask better from a fan's perspective to hear what Coach Smart said at SEC Media Days and to get you hyped up about this season coming, Clark, because Georgia will be in the hunt again. Not to spoil anything, but I don't see a loss on the schedule, and we'll touch that later, but it's coming. Coming, folks.
Let's talk about the future a little bit. Next few weeks, Adam. Not many left between now and kickoff. we'll be releasing a couple more episodes between now and then. We're probably going to have a live call-in show.
Yeah, we will have a live call-in show, our traditional Friday night opening night call-in show that we started last year before the Clemson game. That was a lot of fun. Hope a lot of people can tune in for that. Call, talk to us, man. It's amazing. Already thinking about it, that was one thing that made me sad for a little bit after the Alabama game. Riding back home from Indianapolis, it was like, man, I enjoyed every single week with the Row 60 stuff, the podcast, talking with the folks, getting excited about the next game.
Right.
Thinking, it's going to be a long time before we do our traditional game day show and everything and have live call-in shows. But dang, here we are, Clark. Here we are. So it's time to get it ramped back up. Yeah. We will have the same format as last year with the show and call-ins for big games. Oregon's a big game, so we'll get it started, man. Yeah. Everybody better get their mind right.
That's right. So from here on out, we should be releasing episodes every Wednesday. So check back. Check out on our social media pages, Instagram and Facebook. If you want some content, we're trying to amp it up a little bit.
Ask us some questions. Call in. Message us, ask us questions, some stuff you'd like to see, whatnot. Or if you want to have a question that we answer on air, we might do a little Q&A deal.
Yeah.
We'll see. So definitely some stuff, some shows that we got to do. We'll do some preseason stuff, going over the team like we did last year, going through the schedule, and just continue with the talking season.
Yeah.
And see where we go, Coach.
All right, Adam, wrap us up. Give us a little pep talk. You kind of already did.
I already gave us one, man. Georgia's here. And if you didn't think about it, Kirby Smart reaffirmed it that this team ain't going nowhere. I mean, it's common sense. This team ain't going nowhere. It's going to be another special year this year. And good Lord willing, go back, watch his whole press conference in the entirety from SEC Media Days if you hadn't already, and try not to run through your sheetrock after watching it. Go out there, man. August is here. You've made it. It's time. Live practice reports will be cranking up here very shortly. Go Dogs,
Go
baby.
Dogs.